The sun beat down on the village of Bethany, a place that, despite its proximity to Jerusalem, felt heavy with the scent of fear and despair. Within one of its quiet homes lived 3 siblings, Martha, Mary, and Lazarus, whose peaceful life had been shattered by a sudden, consuming sickness. Lazarus, the brother, lay still, his breath shallow and his skin cold, forcing his sisters into a frantic panic. They knew there was only one person who could possibly intervene, and so, with trembling hands and tear-stained faces, they dispatched a messenger to find Jesus, whom they dearly loved. The messenger found Jesus across the Jordan River. "Lord," he pleaded, breathless and distraught, "the one you love is sick." The news hung heavy in the air, yet Jesus's response was perplexing. He spoke calmly, almost enigmatically, saying, "This sickness will not end in death. No, it is for God's glory, so that God's Son may be glorified through it." He stayed where he was for 2 more days, a decision that must have confused and distressed the disciples, who knew the urgency of the situation. By the time Jesus finally announced they should return to Judea, the disciples were fearful, reminding him of the danger he faced from the leaders in Jerusalem. But Jesus reassured them, declaring plainly, "Lazarus is dead, and for your sake, I am glad I was not there, so that you may believe. But let us go to him." It was a journey of profound consequence, a deliberate delay that set the stage for a miracle far greater than any healing they had witnessed before. As they approached Bethany, the atmosphere changed from tense anticipation to outright grief. Lazarus had been in the tomb for 4 days already. The traditional period of mourning was well underway, and a large crowd, including many prominent figures from Jerusalem, had gathered to comfort the 2 sisters. The house was filled with the sounds of weeping and hushed commiseration, a scene of finality and crushing loss. When Martha heard that Jesus was coming, she wasted no time. She rose immediately, leaving the mourners behind, and rushed out to meet him on the road, her face a mixture of accusation and profound faith. "Lord," she cried out, her voice tight with suppressed sorrow, "if you had been here, my brother would not have died. Even now I know that whatever you ask of God, God will give you." It was a statement that spoke volumes about her belief in his power, even in the face of what seemed an insurmountable truth. Jesus looked at her, his expression tender but firm, and offered the greatest promise. "Your brother will rise again," he said. Martha, clinging to the Jewish teaching of the time, replied, "I know he will rise again in the resurrection on the last day." Then came the declaration that would echo through the centuries, defining his divine nature, "I am the resurrection and the life. The one who believes in me will live, even though they die, and whoever lives by believing in me will never die." Do you believe this? Martha affirmed her belief unequivocally, "Yes, Lord, I believe that you are the Christ, the Son of God, who is to come into the world." Having made her confession, she hurried back to the house to fetch her sister, Mary, whispering secretly, "The teacher is here and is asking for you." Mary's reaction was immediate and heartbreaking. She stood up quickly and went to Jesus, followed closely by the mourners, who assumed she was going to weep at the tomb. When Mary reached him, she fell at his feet, repeating the exact words of her sister, but infused with deeper anguish, "Lord, if you had been here, my brother would not have died." The sight of her unrestrained sorrow, combined with the wailing of the people who had come with her, struck Jesus to the very core of his being. He was deeply moved, troubled in his spirit, and the sheer weight of human suffering and the finality of death caused a visible, powerful grief to erupt from him. The raw, guttural groaning of his spirit revealed a compassionate heart that felt the sting of death as sharply as any of them, demonstrating that even as the Son of God, he fully shared in the sorrow of his created beings and was moved to action not just by power, but by love. "Where have you laid him?" Jesus asked, his voice now heavy with emotion. They replied, "Lord, come and see." It was at this moment, witnessing the devastation firsthand, that Jesus wept. The people murmured among themselves, "See how he loved him," while others questioned why he, who had opened the eyes of the blind, could not have prevented this death. The emotional turmoil around him was immense, but Jesus merely groaned again, troubled yet composed, and continued the path toward the cave. They soon arrived at the tomb, a natural cave sealed by a huge, flat stone. The air was thick with expectation, though most assumed Jesus was only coming to offer a final farewell. Jesus issued a command that instantly broke the silence: "Take away the stone." Martha immediately protested, her practical worries resurfacing. "But, Lord," she exclaimed, "by this time there is a bad odor, for he has been there 4 days." Her fear was understandable. The reality of decay made the situation irreversible. Jesus gently but firmly reminded her of his promise. "Did I not tell you that if you believe, you will see the glory of God?" The men strained and rolled the massive stone away, exposing the darkness within the tomb. Jesus lifted his eyes toward heaven, not to ask for power, which he already possessed, but to offer a public prayer of gratitude. "Father, I thank you that you have heard me," he prayed loudly. "I knew that you always hear me, but I said this for the benefit of the people standing here, that they may believe that you sent me." Then, with a voice that cut through the silence and carried the divine authority of the universe, he shouted an unforgettable command into the dark mouth of the grave: "Lazarus, come out." A moment of stunned silence followed, broken only by a shuffling sound from within the tomb. Slowly, awkwardly, Lazarus emerged, his hands and feet wrapped tightly with strips of linen and his face covered with a cloth. He stood blinking in the light, a man returned from a place beyond the veil. Jesus simply instructed, "Take off the grave clothes and let him go." The crowd was left speechless, weeping now not in grief, but in awe, their belief utterly transformed by the sight of the dead man walking. If you believe Jesus' authority can't be challenged even by death, type, "I believe in you, Lord."